Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I have no problem with you multitasking and eating your lunch while you listen, whatever it is you usually do at the 12 o'clock hour. But just wanted to introduce myself. If you're new to Perry Productions, my husband and I own the business, and we operate out of a historic house in downtown Concord with a wonderful team of Perry pros that we do marketing and website development and have been actually for the past 25 years. So, wanted to share a little bit about what we're excited about in 2019 before we dive into some trends and best practices. One of the things is that this is our 25th anniversary year. So, sidebar, we were actually married in 1993. So, we started this business 1 year after we were married and have been at it ever since. A lot has changed over the years. So, one of the things that we're going to do that's new is a podcast. And I'm going to talk a little bit later in this about why we chose a podcast, why we think that's an exciting area to do things. But we're going to talk about stories and advice and how some of what we've learned is still relevant and how we've stayed literally in business for all that time. We also have our big Get social media marketing conference coming up in April. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more throughout today's webinar. And then also we're looking to create some additional online educational opportunities. At a webinar like this, there's folks with all differing levels of experience with social media. So I always try to make sure that we're providing ways to help you learn how to do it, well, do it cost effectively. So we really want to grow that side of our business this year. And we want to connect and edutain, and yes, that's not a typo, you'll learn later what that is, on other platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, and maybe even YouTube this year. So lots of exciting things planned for us. I hope today you'll start to outline, if you haven't already, what exciting things you have planned for your own marketing and social media this year. So what am I going to talk about today? What I've put together is 10 social media trends. And what I've done is scoured all of my resources and tried to find some trends that I think the average small business and nonprofit can implement. There's a lot of them out there that are just, quite honestly, so much bigger than really some folks can implement. And I try to find things that I think are very doable and that I think you can really benefit from. And then I'm going to look at some features and best practices from my favorite three platforms for small businesses and nonprofits, and that is Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So let's get started. If I am going to have a Q&A at the end, so feel free as a question comes to mind. Abby and Brian are both here with me to help monitor the webinar. They're going to write down those questions, so feel free to throw them out there. But if I don't answer them right away, I am going to address those at the end for sure. So trend number one, let's put social back in social media. What does that mean? I also call it humanized social. In a lot of ways, with automation and scheduling and things like that that have become time savers, social media became too salesy in some ways. So there's this big push to really put the human aspect, which is what social media was built on, back in social media. So how do we do that as a business? Well, I have lots of ideas about how to do that as a business. But you really want to drive a human-centered approach to our customer relations, valuing the relationships that you're building with people on social media and loyalty over how many clicks do we get, how many likes, that focus on shares and comments. I mean, that's really kind of where it comes from, but how are you responding to those? How are you really connecting with people? And I love this one about, are you creating unique and entertaining experiences? I think that's a wonderful kind of litmus test for you to have for what you're putting on social media. And even demonstrating active involvement in local issues in the community. Are you as a business an active participant outside of the product you're selling or outside of the services that you have? Really let us learn more about you and what you do and who your people are and what things are happening behind the scenes. And believe me, that will lead to committed followers, buyers, attendees. But I think there's this pull to get people back to a more human social experience. So what does that look like? Well, this is a post I came across from Andrea Vahl, and I think it's fantastic. She says, when you can talk about your struggles and your story as a business or as a business owner, people can relate more to you and you can inspire others. So don't be afraid to share a more personal side of your business. Obviously, personal means mostly your people. And getting out there. Now, some folks are not, they don't love social media. They don't want to share all that personal stuff, but that certainly is the formula that works. One of the things that she did really well here was to have a really great photo. Similar to email marketing, having a subject line where folks open the email is the first step. Well, having a great photo where somebody's going to say, wow, what is she doing? And why does she look like that? I really think I want to read this. And it's really just a long form blog post on Facebook about how this was the best year for her business. But she's really personalized it. She's made it about, her experience. And that's something that clearly people relate to. This is something that I've already tried to start to incorporate in my business. So on a recent vacation that I went on, I had a funny experience where I fell out of an inner tube in the river in Jamaica, but I was able to kind of connect that back to business. And, so I'm showing a personal side to me. I'm sharing something that I kind of experienced, but I'm also trying to give advice and share with people that, I kind of know what I'm talking about. And I'm somebody worth listening to, but I'm doing it in a fun and even encouraging way. So just some examples of how you can possibly incorporate humanizing your business and still staying within your marketing purpose. So trend number 2 is one that's going to really grow this year. We did this a lot last year for our clients, which is user-generated content, making brands' efforts more authentic. So to define user-generated content, what's that mean? What that means is when somebody posts something about your business or about your product, kind of like a testimonial, something that they shared, they tagged you, they mentioned you. Instead of spending hours crafting original social media content in hopes that your audience is going to like it, you can really rely on this user-generated content. A lot of the times, it's just a matter of looking for it. So that way, they're doing the heavy lifting, and you're just engaging more authentic. I can't even say that. Really, it's more authentic. This can be a huge time saver, and the people whose content you share become even more loyal to your brand. This has been especially effective on Instagram. I have a couple examples to share with you because I really think visuals and examples, help you determine how you can do this for your business. The Gem Theater, which is a local old theater here in town, people love it for its history. We're sharing the user-generated posts on both the story and on just the actual page. And what we're finding is, like I said, it gets seen by even more people, and it's just we're sharing other people's experiences. So instead of telling them what it'll be like at the gym, we're actually allowing our fans to share their experience. I mean, who wouldn't want to go see Mary Poppins with this adorable little girl's endorsement? So this is just a strategy that's really working. I will tell you that stories is certainly getting in front of even more people. So if you can share it on your story, that's a really good thing to do. This is another example, and it also shows the feedback that can happen when you do that. One of the things we wanted to promote for the Y is this wonderful rock climbing wall that they have. Well, we noticed that a member had checked in at the West Cabarrus Y and tagged us with this great picture of her son using the rock climbing wall. So we turned that into a post. Thanked her for the picture. And you can see in the response here where she's actually said, "You're welcome. My kids had a blast and we'll be back." Well, there's a great testimonial. So one, we didn't have to take the picture. We were able to just share it. And then, we circle back and get a great testimonial from a member. So wonderful way to save time, to build authenticity. You want to make sure that you're not just checking that people tag your profile on Instagram. They may check in, so you want to do location tags and things like that, and really keep an eye out for how people are sharing their photos and how they're mentioning you. So trend number 3, this one is acquire first-party data acquisition. Blech, right? That's a mouthful, but I really can relate to this because this is kind of what I've been telling my clients for years. Relying on third-party data providers like social media platforms like Facebook, when you're doing targeting for ads and you're, wanting to target a specific group with a specific buying pattern, that's going to become increasingly unavailable because of security laws and regulations. So you may have noticed already that there are less interest groups, less demographics on Facebook when you're trying to run an ad or do different posts, and that's because of security. And because of privacy issues. So this makes it even more important to kind of take your audience offline and onto your email list, more important than ever. You really want to focus, though, also just from getting an email address to tagging them with interests. Things like, their age, if that's important, that, a younger demographic might be for a different product or service than an older demographic. But also, what are their interests? You can do all of those types of things by using a program like Constant Contact, where you can see what things they click on in your email and then tagging them based on those interests, and then sending more targeted emails to them specifically based on those. So the acquiring first-party data acquisition is really about getting to know the people on your email list. And one of the best ways to do that, like I said, is to use watching what they click on, putting them into smaller segments within your email list. And the main reason for that is because of these security laws and regulations that are coming. So important that you be aware of that. So trend number 4 is social customer care. And I love this because, customer relations, client relations, that's always been a big thing. But this customer care, it's how we're taking care of our clients and our customers. It's done more and more on social media. And one of the things that a lot of folks are missing the boat on is planning to monitor your social media notifications. One, there's a lot of folks that are not checking them daily. And that's super important because if somebody sends a message to you through your Facebook page, through your Instagram page, and they don't hear from you for 3 or 4 days, that leaves a very negative taste in their mouth about your brand. They are not going to call you. They are not even going to email you anymore. They want to reach out to you through their platform of choice, and they expect to hear from you quickly. They're very impatient, and they really, especially if they're trying to make a purchasing decision, want to hear from you. So how can the average small business nonprofit really, give that type of customer care through social media? I'm not going to lie, it's going to be tough, but I really think you just need to put your mind to it. What's the best way you can do it? Can you have certain team members who are kind of on call to check in the evenings, check in over the weekends? At the very least, check it first thing in the morning in case somebody left a message over the evening, and you can get back to it the next day. But certainly if somebody reaches out to you on a Friday and then they don't hear from you on Monday, they probably already headed over to your reviews and left you a bad review that you never reached back out. So it's something that you really want to think about how you're going to manage, because it is becoming more and more prevalent that this is how people want to talk to you and interact with you. So the other thing that you should probably do is put together maybe standard answers to frequently asked questions that you can share with whoever's monitoring your social over that time frame. But make sure that you have a plan. Make sure that this is happening outside of the typical 8 to 5 Monday through Friday day. Because if you think about it, and we'll see a stat later, most people are using social media on the weekend, Saturdays and Sundays. So if you have no plan for taking care of your customers on the weekend, then you're really missing out. And so it's really an important thing that you look at implementing this year. So trend number 5, this is one that I absolutely love. When I first heard the term micro influencers, I thought, gosh, that's so cool. My kids are big fans of all the YouTube stars and, all that kind of stuff. And I've never been into that, not into celebrity. I'm not a Kardashian follower. But I love my micro influencer friends. Like, I love the folks who every time they post something, I'm excited to read it. I'm interested in it. If they're eating out somewhere or shopping somewhere, I really am like, gosh, I should check that out. So that's exactly what a micro influencer is somebody with maybe 1,000 to 10,000 followers, maybe even just friends. Maybe that's not even a business page. They're not your traditional celebrity. They may have just a relevant niche or even just be somebody in your community. So a lot of them are food bloggers, mommy bloggers, fitness Instagrammers, those types of folks. But they're usually just really passionate about their categories or passionate about sharing reliable sources of information. Now, why do I think this is so cool? Well, because a lot of times, with these celebrities, it's not like I'm ever going to meet Justin Timberlake. You know what I mean? I'm not going to run into him on the street. But with a micro influencer, these are people that I may know or at least have the ability to know personally. And that just kind of strengthens the trust that I have with them. Um, Usually they're very loyal. Like, if a celebrity um, promote something, they may be getting paid for that. Who knows why they're doing it? Usually micro influencers are doing it because they actually care about it. They're going to advocate things and they're going to have a lot of influence over the people that they're connected to or that they follow. Well, what does that mean to you as a brand? Barbie Jones, who's a good friend of mine and is also the executive director of the chamber here in Cabarrus County, is a micro influencer, whether she likes it or not. She doesn't love the word term influencer. She really is, and she's one of the best that we have in our community. So why is that? It's because she has a great sense of humor. She's smart, she's informed, she's positive, and she shares a lot. So these are three examples of some posts that she has put out there. This one about deciding 2019 is going to start in February. She just makes you laugh, so you want to follow her because it makes you feel good. But then the second example is about her talking about this Pure Pizza in Charlotte and, just sharing it because she thought what they were doing was really cool. A lot of people in her circle of influence maybe have never heard of that, but that shout out probably brought some new followers to her. And, and she's also very connected within the nonprofit community through her job. So, she puts a lot out there, and I know that there are folks that take action based off of something that she shared. And so as a business, hopefully Pure Pizza reached back out to her and thanked her for that recommendation. That's what you need to do as a business, as a nonprofit, is really know who your micro influencers are, make sure you're engaging with them, make sure you're thanking them. And if there's any way to incorporate them into your marketing strategy, do that. Because this is just a way to really, gain influence and get promotion for your products or services. So micro influencer is definitely something that I think is pretty cool. So trend number 6, video is still king. There is going to be no decline in video. Especially with Facebook. I mentioned this even though there's still a lot of people who don't do live video because they get nervous about the whole live aspect about it. But the statistics definitely show that people love live video. They like the realness, of it, doesn't feel overproduced. There's going to be a lot of growth in watch parties, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in groups, and just things that you're sharing in groups. But just creating video, period, is still going to be a priority. One other cool thing that I saw that Mari Smith mentioned is that they're actually going to have an integrated shopping experience on Facebook Live. Very kind of QVC, where you can actually buy, choose colors, add to a cart, and check out all while live. And for nonprofits, it's going to be similar, where they can actually make donations. So some really cool things to kind of keep an eye out for that you can utilize live video for in sales and or donation. Like I said, video still kind of intimidates some folks, and we're lucky here in that I have somebody who does the videos for me that we do with our business. But I really want you to know that you can do videos on your own, and you want to keep your videos fun. That's what we try to aim for, that edutain. It's education and entertaining. And one of the things we created recently, I haven't shared this with anybody yet, but Lindsay just finished it this week, so I thought it would be fun to share with you. And this is our blooper reel. I mean, this is all the outtakes from the videos that we do, and they thought it would be really fun to put this together. And we're going to share it, but there's a purpose for it, because I really want people to know that, I am a human being, that I do have fun with what I'm doing, that it's not easy for me to do video. I mess up a lot. But, if you've seen the end product, you know that it comes out really good in the end. But this video's purpose is really to say, hey, follow me on these two channels and just kind of see what I'm like and what I have to offer. So I wanted to share this with you. I'm going to play this real fast. It's only a minute. Huh? So Brian just came in and told me that the sound isn't working. So I'm so sorry. We're going to send this to you after. So hopefully you can check it out. We'll send this to you as a PDF. But I just, like I said, wanted to share, an idea. We talk a lot about doing behind the scenes and other kind of fun things. A blooper reel is a really fun thing to do as well. And this is one that we've done that you can kind of model after. Now, if you're watching the videos and you're freaking out and you say, Lisa, I know you've told us 100 times we should do videos. I just can't. I want to give a little plug for our social media conference coming up in April. Jennings Birchfield, who is a wonderful videographer here in town, has done the Habitat Cabarrus video for their annual breakfast, is actually going to be one of our speakers. He's going to give great tips and tricks on how to do your own videos. So if you need some help with that, just know that's going to be part of some of the educational opportunities that we have coming up this year. So trend number 7. Podcasts as thought leadership and engagement. So I don't know how many of you are podcast listeners, but I certainly listen to my fair share of ones in my industry. A lot of people on my staff here listen to them for entertainment and for education. They are really growing in success, lots more folks doing them, and especially with the younger demographic. Audio content is bringing back the radio days as a great way to catch up with your favorite brands when you're on the go, whether you're in the car or whether you're, running, just sitting around. Like podcasts have just become really popular. You can use them to either build your own personal brand, just like you market yourself, like come listen to me, spend some time with me, or, to promote your business, which in a lot of cases, they work hand in hand. What makes them special is the fact that they still focus on the content rather than the promotion, even though you can have, little ads in there, promoting certain things. But people subscribe to it. They get notified each week. The ones that I listen to, even though I don't hear it every single week, it's still like a source of where I get my information, because I like that I can listen to it fairly passively. And it's exciting. And it's also not, as we've researched doing this for ourselves, the equipment is not very expensive. In fact, you can even just use the audio on your computer. You can record it on your computer and you can put it on iTunes for free. So we feel really good about our decision to give this a try. My mom in Florida might be the only person that listens, but we're going to certainly, see if this is something that can help us reach, our audience, stay engaged with them, something that you might want to consider doing if it fits within your marketing strategy. So trend number 8 is that marketers are giving email its due. And like I said a little earlier, I have thought email was the way to go for a long time. And no matter how much we talk about social media, getting people off of social and onto your email list is one of the most important things you can do. And I love what Ann Hanley said here is that, with email, you don't have to worry about an algorithm controlling if your information gets in front of somebody or not. You get to control that. You get to email them directly. The bigger issue is just how do you get people to open it? How do you get people to think there's something valuable inside it? So I encourage you to ask yourself 2 questions when you're putting together any type of email communication. And that is, am I going to learn something new from this email? Like, is this somebody that every time I hear them or whether it's video or email communication, do I learn something new? Are they a source of information to me? And is this email going to inspire me? Like, am I going to feel good after reading it? Is it positive? Is it going to make me want to, maybe make a purchase or support this cause? So if you can really cover those two things within your email, I think you're being successful. A great example of the value of an email is last week, at the beginning of the week, we literally had 5 people registered for this webinar. And granted, it was the holidays and everybody coming into their January, but I was like, oh my gosh, we've only got 5 people. So the chamber sent an email, and we sent out an email, and within one day, we grew to 86 people. And we're now well over 100 people. And it's all because of email. I mean, we were sharing it on social media, but that wasn't where people were driven to sign up. I mean, maybe they knew about it, but the true call to action was when it hit their email box and there was a link right there and they registered. So really making sure that, like I said, email is where people buy from. And I just want to make sure that folks understand that. Okay, so trend number 9. This is automation. And this is just becoming more and more prevalent. It's something that I talk to all of our clients about. How can you automate something and do it once and then have it working for you kind of in the background? Well, one of our Perry Pros here, Kelsey, came up with the idea of doing an Instagram challenge. And it's a series of 5 emails over 5 days with just one small task to do on your Instagram account. And so we automated that so that the emails go out, one day after the person signs up, and then each email follows. That's called email automation. Even when they register, they click on this link and they go to Constant Contact, their email's added, and then it goes into this series of emails that go out. It took some time to create all those emails, to put together, the examples, to do the screen captures, but it's now done. And this is something that can work for us for months. And it's a wonderful thing. And it doesn't have to be like, I need to go send that email for February. This is as soon as they join, whether they join this January 1st or whether they join it March 1st, it's the same series. And so any way that you can automate something, put a lot of time and effort into it, make it a really valuable experience, but then have it running for you, that's a huge time saver. And it runs very flawlessly for the user. Another example of this that we've been doing for a while is to get a free pass through the Y. They used to do it where people would stop in, they would get their free pass. Now it's all automated through their website. We put the information up there. We created a link. When they click on try the free pass, they go to this landing page and enter their email address. They then get this series of emails. And granted, this series is very small, but the first one is the important one because the email that comes to them is their pass. They can take that to the branch, either on their phone or print it out. But then we decided, there's a lot of people not using their free pass. What if we add a second email to this automated list 10 days later that is a, hey, have you visited the Y yet? And maybe they're like, oh gosh, I forgot to, go in, or I couldn't find the email. This is another send, so to speak. And so we're seeing a lot of success with this. And what type of impact has this had? This one automation from their website to their email has generated 4,613 new emails into their database. So it's really powerful, and literally they do nothing except the pass when it comes in. So really important that you try to find these time-saving automations that you can do for your business. The Y also, because that was successful, decided to convert their 2-week letters that they used to mail to members into an email. With the cost of printing and postage, this is a much cheaper option. And it's also really easy for their staff to drop in an email into a certain list. And it's even broken down by household adult. So it's a more customized communication than if I was to send something about, children's programs to an active older adult. So really been successful, like I said, putting that time and energy in for cost saving benefits down the road. So that's kind of the 9 of the 10 trends. I'm going to save the last one for the end. Now I wanted to just spend a little bit of time touching three of the big platforms or social media profiles and kind of what's going on with them this year, what things you should still make sure you're spending time on. We'll start with Facebook. Mari Smith is certainly the expert in the industry. This graphic that she shared recently in the Facebook engagement guide shows 70% of Facebook posts are going to be video. So like I said, when I say spend time on video, I definitely mean it, but it's also why you need to create things that are going to stand out because lots of other people are going to be doing them as well. I'm excited to see how our little blooper one does because it's fun, and I think that people will find that funny and it'll be entertaining. So like what can you do that fits within your mix that's going to be getting people's attention? The other kind of information I got from this guide that I found very interesting and that I also get asked about a lot is the best time to post. This report identified between 9 and 11 as the best performing. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of an early to bed girl. So I'm not usually up at 11 o'clock on social media. I appear to be in the norm or out of the norm there. But you can see from this diagram over here that even 7 o'clock, anything after 7 and before 11 is the highest performing. So if you're a company that's really just posting in real time between 8 and 5 Monday through Friday, you're definitely missing the boat because probably most of the activity is happening later. You can also tell on the right-hand side here where it has best day to post that Saturday and Sunday are the highest performing. So it makes sense. People are off there on the weekend. That's when they're spending more time on social media. So hopefully you're using Facebook Scheduler to, even if you're not physically posting it in real time, you can schedule it for one of these higher performing times. Now, one thing to keep in mind is everybody's audience is different, so you need to test it, but maybe take something that you had been doing at a certain time and shift it. See if posting it a little later in the day, maybe on the weekend, works better for you. But statistics that I thought were important to share. Some other things that are going to continue to be relevant that you use in your marketing strategy is Facebook events. I tried to illustrate here why events are so important because you get notifications. This is my feed, so you can see that, I follow Cabarrus Brewing Company, so they're notifying me that there's a 10th annual Cupids and Canines events. Now, if they post that on their feed, I might not see it, but I've just got an indication that they added this event, and that comes directly into my notifications. That's powerful to you as a business or a nonprofit to get your event out there in front of people. Off to the side here, I've also got a couple where I can actually in my notifications see that I have friends responding to events happening tomorrow. So that's social proofing. If I want to see what my friends are doing and what they're interested in, I can click on that and check out those particular events. And then Facebook also pushed out to me concerts and music events happening near me. So lots of things that were absolutely free coming into my notifications and letting me know that something's happening. So those are just some of the reasons that I think you still should be utilizing Facebook events, just so you understand the value of it. A couple other things that I still see a lot of people not taking advantage of. One of them is the Facebook cover image slideshow. You may not realize that you can actually have more than one up there now. A good practice, especially if you have something like this that's timely, and I don't want this header to be up there tomorrow since the webinar will be over. I can have multiple ones up, and this is after you click on edit slideshow, you can see you can just hit the plus and have as many as you want, and the little dots tell you how many there are up there. But I can easily go in today, remove the webinar one, and then I've got my Instagram challenge one that will now be my new header. So something you want to make sure that you're utilizing as a way to promote a variety of things happening. Facebook story, that's this part right here over to the right. I still frequently go to business pages and see that just gray and not used. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to illustrate with a photo and even a little article, something about your business. So make sure, when you click on that, it opens up with this nice big photo. I get to tell a little bit about myself, and my business. Make sure all of those things are filled out, because when your profile is not fully filled out, it just looks sloppy. And I think it's really important that you take the time to do that and to update it. Like I noticed when I looked at ours, like I need to go in and add that this is our 25th anniversary year, and make sure that I have some new things in there as well. So it's not a bad idea to annually go in and kind of scrub through your about section and make sure everything is current. So another thing that Facebook is saying that they're going to continue to work on and grow is Facebook groups. So maybe this is the year you start a group, or you certainly look to engage in that group more. The thing that is pretty cool about Facebook groups is just the additional features that you don't necessarily have when you do just a direct post. So, it's got things like polls and get-togethers and watch parties, but even under the more, you can also add files, you can sell things, you can put docs in. So there's just a lot you can do. So if you can get your followers into a group, it just gives you that many more options as far as what you can do and what type of content you can share. The watch party is a pretty cool idea. As I mentioned, that people are still really wanting to engage with video. The watch parties can certainly be a video that you created, but you can also see that you can search just all kinds of suggested shows. You can see what friends are watching. So maybe, your business is in the financial world, and there's a particular show that's really educational. You can just gather people in your group and watch that together and allow you to comment on it as a thought leader. So there's lots of opportunities for you to utilize a watch party and get people together and engage with them, even without you having to create that content. So just some cool features to look at within Facebook groups. This is kind of a lengthy post, and I won't go through it, but this is where Mari Smith mentions the edutainment. Teaching them something useful, something that relates to a niche in which you are an expert, and doing it in an enjoyable way. I think she says that extremely well. I think that's a wonderful, like I said earlier, litmus test for what you're posting. There's some other bullet items here about what the purpose is of it. It's really stayed the same in a lot of ways, but I think that a lot of people and businesses have gotten too salesy with what they're putting out on social media, and they need to come back to really foster relationships, teach people how to do something in an enjoyable way. So just some good information about Facebook. Another trend that I've been reading a lot about is that a lot of businesses are going to be trying to make their business pages look more personal, going back to that whole humanizing things. So I went through my own personal profile, and most profiles look like this of people that you follow. There's personal memories, like I have pictures from my recent vacation. There's life events. My son is getting ready to graduate. This is his last swim meet. An occasional funny or helpful link from a brand. So I'm obviously, really keyed in on college and things like that. So these are the types of things, I'm sharing information with my like-minded friends. I'm telling about myself. That's what a personal page looks like, right? Well, what we've tried to start doing here with our business page is take some of those notes and make it more personal. So recently I was asked to co-host Cabarrus This Week. We made sure that we took a picture of that so that we could share with people that this is a pretty neat opportunity that I was asked to participate in, and it really personalizes what I do for a living. While I can talk about, how to give marketing advice and things like that, I think this is just a neat opportunity that I had that we wanted to share so people could get to know me a little more. Also, one of the things we really like to do is recognize our clients, and give them shout outs. So while we can say that we can, give you video advice, this was a great opportunity. One of our clients who was at our social media conference last year actually wrote a script with the Grinch, bought the suit, and filmed a video for a sale that they had coming up. And we were so proud of them. we definitely wanted to reshare that and tag him and tell him what a great job he did, but to show to other people. And this has had over 4,000 views. It was very successful for him. But, really saying, hey, job well done to the Catawba Restore for such a well thought out thing. And then obviously the blog post that I shared earlier, while it is about a vacation I was on, it's also professional advice. It's a way for me to share information, but in a little bit more personal way. So anyway, that's a little bit about Facebook, what you can expect to do there, where you should spend some of your time. As far as Instagram is concerned, Instagram stories is certainly still where most people are really putting a lot of their attention. There are so many cool things that you can do with stories, and it's where people seem to be spending their time. This is kind of a cool idea that I saw that is utilizing the question sticker where you can put on there, just ask me anything. This particular person, did that to try to generate ideas for a potential video tip. So she allowed people to ask those questions, and then she turned it into a live video for a quick makeup trick. So a wonderful way to, one, engage with folks, get them to share with you, but then turn that into something that people actually want. Especially if more than one person is asking the same question, that that's something that you want to spend your time on. So great way to use Instagram stories. Now, don't freak out, right? I've mentioned Instagram stories. There may be a few folks here who are like, I don't even know where Instagram stories is, let alone how to do it for my business. This is going to be a major focus at our conference this year. Meredith is going to be there, and I just adore her. She owns a interior design company called Georgia Street Design. I've admired her Instagram for years. She's actually going to come share with everyone her philosophy, her best practices, how she does it. In addition to that, we're going to have a hands-on Instagram stories workshop where it's going to be just like paint by numbers. We're going to show you how to use the stickers, how to use the location tags, all kinds of things, but you're actually going to physically create some. So for those of you that this is a bit of a learning curve, this is an opportunity for you to really come and figure out how you can do this for your business. So a little bit more about Instagram and some other cool things. You can actually now share music through stories. So you can ask, what song are you listening to? And you can actually go in and select different songs, which that's kind of cool, like, maybe for my kids if they want to share with their friends, but how can we use this as a business, right? Well, one of the things, like I mentioned, one of our clients, The Y, a great thing to do to incorporate that in an engagement way is to ask members to help us build the ultimate workout mix. So share, your favorite workout songs, and you get all those logged within your Instagram stories, and then we can actually share the results. And, based on Instagram, this is our YMCA members' ultimate workout mix. A great way to utilize the tools that Instagram offers to engage your audience and then have, something valuable that people feel like they were a part of. Another really cool feature that Instagram added to their stories is a countdown. I get asked about this a lot, if we can put countdowns on people's websites and in other areas. So they added this as an actual sticker that you can put on a post, and it displays a timer for a chosen event. So you can actually enter the date and time of your event. You can do a post, you can put that sticker on there. The other cool thing about it is you can actually, when you see this in your feed, you can actually click on Remind Me, and that will then automate to send you a reminder about that event, and that person can even share the countdown. So really cool thing. You may not even realize it was added to the sticker section, but certainly something that businesses can take advantage of. So there's so much more about Instagram out there. Like I said, we're going to look to put some real great educational opportunities out there, but just to touch on a few of the things that are cool and where you should, maybe incorporate some of what you're doing. I also encourage you to do our Instagram challenge, which really talks about just updating your profile. So the link is in here. Abby's actually going to share that in the comments. So if you want to participate in that, if you want to get those 5 emails and work each day to update your profile, that would be really great. So lastly, I would just want to talk about LinkedIn. I've been excited about LinkedIn really over the past year and adding that to my own social media strategy, but also for a lot of businesses. It's gaining prominence and growth this year. So Facebook has taken a major hit with user trust and regulations coming. And so it's making it really a lot more difficult for paid advertisers. So people are looking at other areas where they can get their message out, where they can engage with existing companies or existing customers, grow new customers. LinkedIn is really having the opposite effect of that. They're maintaining and gaining user trust. Their feed is so much better. It's really a Facebook-like experience, but you don't have like some of the goofy videos and things that are kind of mindless. It's much more of a business environment, and I find that there's just a different group of people that I engage with over there, and they're looking to do business. They, on Facebook, sometimes people are like, oh, I just want to relax, I don't want to be hit with those marketing messages, but it's much more acceptable to do business on LinkedIn. So checking in, trying to maybe do a couple posts a week, just starting to up your strategy there. There's less political arguing. Everyone will love that. Not that that doesn't exist. But they're hoping that that's going to lead to more screen time. People are frustrated with that on Facebook. They want a bit of a break from that. I highly encourage you. There have been some changes to the profile. Make sure you go in and update your profile. Make sure you have, a good picture, a professional picture, a banner image that you fully filled out your contact info. I just did a workshop last week to help people know how to do that, where to go to do that. You can also add videos now and documents. So make sure you're taking advantage of everything that you can use to promote yourself and your business on LinkedIn. It's certainly not a resume platform anymore. And the other thing I'm telling people to do is engage your employees to be active on their own social media profiles. So you can see we actually had a day where we all went in, started to change, just from, what your job title is to what you do. For the company, like Abby's is marketing coordinator, Facebook expert, digital marketer, like these are all the roles that she plays here. Kelsey is a creative problem solver, a social media strategist. There's so many things that she does beyond just her job title. But also getting them to share important things about your business and your industry, because when they're doing it, you're reaching all the people that they're connected to, and that can really grow your influence as a company. So get your own profile up and running. Also, make sure you engage your employees. I've included in this PowerPoint the kind of new LinkedIn Pages best practices. It used to be that a lot of people weren't using their LinkedIn company page because it didn't get as much reach as what you posted on your personal profile. LinkedIn says that's about to change. So this little video that you can watch shows a little bit about that. There's also an actual section on LinkedIn that has Pages best practices. So really encourage you to spend some time. And like I said, we're going to put some more information out in the months ahead about specifically LinkedIn and how to use it as a tool within your marketing strategy. So last but not least is trend number 10. So I'm coming back to the trends, and I didn't think I could do about kind of a 2019 trends webinar without talking about smart audio, but I put it at the very end because, quite honestly, for most people and even for me, there's nothing that we can really do with it, but I think it's important for people to realize this stat that I saw, that 30% of searches are going to be done without a screen in the next 2 years. That smart audio is the technology that a lot of brands are focusing on now. Again, most of the people here are probably smaller businesses, nonprofits that don't really have the time or resources to do anything right now. Even as a marketer, I don't even know what to tell you to do. But voice as navigation is where consumers want technology to be. And so it's something that I just wanted you to be aware of. I'm going to certainly look for opportunities for us to get into that. What's the best practices that we can do so we can show up in those type of searches and what they look like. So just getting this on your radar, maybe it's for 2020, maybe it's for later this year, but just understanding that this is such a huge player in the marketing industry right now, smart audio and just how people are going to be getting information. So I think we may have a few questions. I'm going to touch base with Brian and Abby. So if you want to stay on, I'll see if I can answer those. But I did want to share a little bit more information about our Get Social conference coming up in April. We did this last year and it was really well received. We felt like we put together a great day. We have all new speakers on all new topics this year. I've already mentioned Jennings and Meredith, but one of the sessions I'm most excited about is Berkeley Young. He's going to talk about generational marketing. I get asked about that a lot. How do I reach millennials? And he has an interesting answer to that, and is well versed in just how to use analytics and how to know your audience. And it's something that I think is really important for people to realize. So I'm looking forward to what he has to say. And Matthew Montoya, who has been a constant contact email marketing expert, was really got us into doing workshops and conferences, is going to be here because I believe at the end of the day, email marketing is your best opportunity to make money, connect with people, and just drive donations. So I think he's going to do a great job. I'm looking forward to this lineup. Oh, and lastly, I shouldn't forget to mention myself. I'm actually going to Social Media Marketing World in San Diego, which is a huge nationwide conference in March. And so I'm going to be getting the latest and greatest from the marketing industry, bringing that back, seeing what I think works best for small business and nonprofit. So I feel like I'm going to have a lot of good information to share by the time April 11th comes around. I'm able to process all that great information. So we're offering a special discount for webinar attendees for the next 2 weeks. This is $160 off the full ticket price. So if you want to attend, use the webinar code and feel free to join us. Feel free to call me too if you ever want, to ask any additional questions. Like I said, we're going to have an email going out with the PDF of this presentation and also a replay of the video in case you want to share it with your coworkers or rewatch any parts of it. We really appreciate you joining us. I've got 2 questions here. What are chatbots? So I don't talk a lot about chatbots because there's a bit of a learning curve there, but they're really just through Messenger. So if somebody sends you a message through Facebook Messenger, they're like auto responses. So if there's a question that you get all the time, you can kind of automate a response to that. Most of our clients don't have the kind of volume that warrants that, but it can be something that you want to incorporate into your marketing, but it's through Messenger. So that's what chatbots are all about. If you want more information about that, please feel free to reach out to me. Another question is, are video or audio podcasts more effective? I'm not really sure. Honestly, we're looking at doing kind of a combination of both, where we're going to have a video version of our podcast, but it's not going to be the whole thing. I know some folks that are primarily video, and they just turn their video into a podcast. It feels a little less authentic, to be honest. So the true podcasters, only do podcasts. They're not doing it as a video or just turning their video into a podcast. So like I said, we're going to play around with doing a hybrid, maybe a piece of our podcast as a video, just as a way to kind of cross promote. But again, we're just getting into that space and going to learn about it. There are 2 different types of podcasts that I've been hearing about. Some are very talk show oriented, where it's just kind of folks, sitting around talking about things. Others are a little more scripted and have a little bit more purpose. The ones that are done well, even if they are scripted, don't feel that way. So lots of interesting, great question. Like I said, as we get involved in this, we're certainly going to share our experience and advice with folks as we learn along the way. So great questions. Again, thank you so much for joining us. First webinar of 2019. I look forward to providing a lot more this year. Please feel free to reach out to us. And like I said, you can look to your inbox to hear from us with the materials from today. Have a great day.